Eskimo church. And you know, those people learned to love me. Oh, I get a picture of it, you know, in front of the church with the people there. And I would play my trombone. And they, and my accompanist was Eskimo. He did a pretty good job. And they had an organ, you know, you go like this pedal, but it was an organ. And he played for me, and they wanted me to play the old rugged cross, you know. And if I played that so much that I didn't need music anymore. and so I had a wonderful time over there with them. And in the wintertime, it stunk so bad I had a terrible time playing. Oh, the muckalucks, I won't tell you how they treat them. And their parkas and everything in the cold, and a big pot-belly stove in the middle of the room, red hot. And when they start thawing out, oh, and I breathed in, I almost choked. It was terrible, but it was wonderful. The atmosphere was great, and really appreciated the Eskimos. And then the chaplain found out I had my trombone up there. He called me in. He said, he said, I was a corporal then. He said, you gotta, we're gonna meet out in the tundra, the whole camp. I said, how are you gonna get the whole camp out there? Everybody would go? He says, everybody won't go. Everybody, the whole camp is gonna go out in the tundra.
How many?
And out there.
How many?
Oh man, I don't know, hundreds of people. Everybody, and no one protested and said, you can't push this religion on me or anything. They enjoyed it. And boy, I'd ask them, you know, out there, the horn really worked good. And you should have seen the reindeer. Thousands sometimes out there, and they'd come up close. And they got the gospel, and then we would kill them and eat them. But, you know, they had a right to know first. You go to heaven.
Okay, how did you cook them?
Oh, I didn't cook them. The mess sergeant did.
Yeah.
And the mess sergeant, yeah.
Right, but how did you?
Well, most of the time you chew and juice out and spit it out. It was so tough, you know. But it was meat. It was meat. So we worked with him, and then about a week after we arrived up there, I wanted to know what Nome was like. Nome was right on the sea of the North Sea up there, and so I walked to town, 2 miles from camp to town. Oh, it was a beautiful day in summertime, and in Nome they don't have sidewalks. You can't have them because it's on a glacier, so they got wooden sidewalks that are about this high, you know, all the way along. It's all wood. So you got to be very careful how you walk. I walked. I was just walking through town, and a lady saw me. There's a GI. Boy, the GIs knew over there. There's a lot of them. And so she called me in. She wanted to know who I was, what I did, and I told her. Of course, we talked about it, and with her husband, and he was the supervisor of 5 gold dredges, great big gold dredges along the stream up there, right next to where our camp was going to be. And he was chairman of the board of the church. And he told how their pastor was afraid because the Japanese were coming up at Tukiska, and they were firing at Dutch Harbor even up there. I saw the places that they hit. And so he was afraid. He said, I'm going back to the States. And he said, we were left without leadership. He said, I wonder, would it be possible he found out that I was a Christian? And they were too, wonderful people. He said, do you think, and I don't know why they trusted me with it, do you think you could get some GIs together and take over our church for a while until we get someone? Well, we did, but they weren't looking for anybody. They wanted us to keep on going the way we were going, you know? So we did, and oh boy, I went back to camp and I found some guys. I said, how about a first tenor? You sing first tenor. Took me a while to find a second tenor and a baritone. I finally found them. and I was the bass. And so we got together, we began to practice, and everything opened up. And I'll tell you, the commander of the camp, he gave us each of us a red pass. We could go anytime we wanted to go. He was so happy. He said, that's what we need. We need fellowship, or we need, what do you call it? You know,
Interaction?
with the civilian population. He said, we need to do that,
Connection.
to have that association. So he was happy. And I'll tell you what, we had a command car. We would drive to church in the morning, Sunday mornings, we'd drive to church. We four guys, we'd park that command car right up in front. You know, we had a place for that. And we'd all bail out of the car, and we'd march up to the front of the church. We'd sing a quartet song or something. Then we'd introduce, you know. And we had our first tenor. He died not too long ago. He had studied to be a minister in a Methodist college. So he did most of the preaching. So we did that, and we had a wonderful time with them. And at the end, before we were going to leave, the general flew in from Anchorage, commander of all Alaska. He flew in to be at our banquet. And all the business people, and you know, they said, you quartet. They said, if you guys will come back, we'll all find you a position in this town. They wanted us to come back. Well, but the Nearlands are the ones who where I stopped the first time and visited with. You know, he was the commander of all the gold dredges, and I would take up the offering, and I'd play my horn. I'd go over to the Eskimo church, was right across from the white church. The only two churches in town, one Eskimo and the other white, the civilians there. So I would sometimes go to both places. And I would take up an offering. We'd get gold nuggets, gold dust, and that type of thing in the offering. That was something. And of course, we never ever took a dime, you know, nothing at all. But that was quite a banquet. And even for Christmas, at Christmas time, we had a Christmas tree. We couldn't find one. There wasn't a tree within 150 miles. You know what we did? We dispatched an airplane out way up north to get a Christmas tree. The taxpayers again paying for it. And we decorated that tree, and you know, people, I mean, the church was packed for Christmas. Packed, and maybe some came to see the Christmas tree, which they never had before, with lights on it. And then they got the gospel of the true Christmas at the same time, you know. So we had that banquet, we said goodbye, but well, our quartet also, every week, we sang at the chaplain's hour that covered that whole area of Alaska.